despite what their moms told them. They just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Now, those two unapologetically biased orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Sunday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe. At Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there, join the militia. Another slow start for the Orange, but a recovery late in the first half helped set the tone for the rest of the game as Syracuse beats Cornell for the 42nd straight time, 78-63. They improved to 8-4. You'll hear from us, and we'll hear from you in fan feedback. And the Orange will continue with conference play from here on out as they face Pitt this Tuesday, upcoming, at our favorite scheduled time, 9 o'clock. We'll let you know what we think about that. All kinds of football news is the norm. That's how things go now. And so here we go. Are you ready? Let's do this out of order that I have it written down because things just kind of been going crazy. So Garrett Williams, as we figured, he's declared for the draft. I don't think that's a huge surprise. Sean Tucker did not do the senior walk at the last home game of the year for the Orange, but he has declared for the NFL draft too.
Yep.
So with that said, I mean, yeah, it sucks. You know, Quentin Allen, we'll see what happens there. But not a huge surprise, though. Not a huge surprise, and I'm not sure if it's the best decision either. But it's not for me. It's not a decision for me. It's for the. No. It's for them. So, yeah. You know, yeah. I think it's always best to give it another year because I'm a fan. So,
well, we're fans, but at the end of the day, right? Like, if he's gonna get drafted top 3 rounds and he's got guaranteed money, then you don't waste. I mean, you don't take an opportunity to hurt yourself. You know what I mean?
Right. That, and also, you know, running backs in the NFL is they're in dire need. It's a hot commodity. So
it's true.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, someone with his talent level, despite the numbers that he put up this year, which were good, they were absolutely, they were good, but they weren't, you know, the types of numbers that you thought maybe he could put up. Right. 1,060 yards for the year. And I think, you know, the biggest kicker for me, because of just, you know, getting this extra game and getting to play in the bowl, I don't really care what it is, extra game, he's not going to play in that game. So, and by the way, it was Emily Leaker, is that her name, for Syracuse.com? Anyway, she had an article explaining that if you go into the transfer portal, as long as you're not committed anywhere verbally or otherwise, you are allowed to play. It's up to the coach, really. So right. We talked about that in the last show. But yeah, so he's not going to be able to play in the upcoming bowl game. So, I mean, look, it's going to be a good opportunity for some of these guys to really get some burn. And who will be in that bowl game is Rocky Long. So he's going to be the new... Yeah. Yep.
I don't think he's going to be coaching that, right?
I think I read he's coaching, dude. Now you're going to make me go back through and find this. Let me first figure out where I found it. So
I thought that they had already called.
I have Noons written down. Huh?
I thought that they had already said that Nick Monroe was going to be the interim coach for the bowl game. But
this was before Rocky Long, though.
Right.
So, well, let's just I'll double check that. Okay. I don't want to get over my skis, but I'm pretty sure I read that at Noons. So he's going to be leaving the Lobos of New Mexico. He's dubbed as the 335 architect and someone that knows it well, so that's going to stay in place. He actually recruited and coached Tony White at UCLA. All of that according to Noons. I did not know that. So let's see. Joe, regardless of whether or not he's playing or going to be coaching, and that would be something if he played. He's 70-something years old.
Yeah.
Regardless of not whether he's going to be coaching in the bowl game or not, to be able to keep the scheme with the players that are used to it, and from a guy who knows it well, quite possibly could be the man for it. That's not bad. I feel a whole lot better about that situation. Nick Monroe can stay where he's at and learn and progress through Rocky Long, who is a great mentor and obviously has made his name all throughout college football. So, I mean, I'm not. Yeah. I feel pretty good about that. So
he mentored Tony White, and when you lose a defensive coordinator, obviously there's always big names and things like that. But I think the most important thing is to be able to keep the same type of schematic, scheme as far as defense goes, so that you don't lose so many players. Tony White's been there for 3 years. We've been recruiting for the 3-3-5. And it would be a step back to be able to bring somebody else in and be like, oh, we're running a 4-3 now. Not to say that some players can't play it.
Well, you can adapt, but I mean, this is the system we're in. It's been
right.
a couple years for some of these guys, right?
Yeah. So I think it helps because I think, like you said, he recruited Tony White. He mentored Tony White. He was, a coach from his coaching tree, so to speak. And I'm sure Tony White has nothing but great things to say about the guy. And unless it's a situation like Juice Chestnut where, like I said, I don't know if he's going to look to see like the best case scenario for him to go or if he's going to follow Tony White. But, this is definitely going to help us keep a lot of defensive guys that might have transferred otherwise.
So according to ESPN Albuquerque, 101.7 FM, The Team, sources tell 101.7 The Team that Long will coach Syracuse defense in its bowl game. Syracuse plays Minnesota in the Pinstripe Bowl on December 29th.
Okay.
That tweet is in the Noon's article. You go to noonsmagician.com there and read up on all of that. Okay, let's switch gears here to some coming and going, okay? We did a going. Jeremiah Wilson is coming back. He's going to take his name out of the portal. He's going to stay put, okay? That's good.
Mm-hmm. That is good.
Now, with what we have with, what was the other cornerback? What was his name? These guys both have 4 years of eligibility, Joe, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Jaden, so
Jaden Bellamy's the new one.
And Jaden Gould.
Okay, 2 Jadens. All right, well, that's why I didn't say anything.
Jaden spelled differently.
Okay, all right. Because I was like, is that true? Is that right? I didn't know if I wrote it down wrong. So, yes, okay.
Yeah. Jaden 2.0.
Correct. So, both 4-star guys, right? And
out of high school. Yeah.
Out of high school, right? Okay. So, and they both have 4 years eligibility left. Mm-hmm. It must be with a COVID year, right? Because they both have a year under their belt. So,
right.
Jaden Bellamy, he did not play for Notre Dame this year. And he did, but he wasn't out there, right? So
I think it might be a situation where they both might have redshirted too, because I don't know if either one of them had enough. I don't think it has anything to do with COVID year because they're true freshmen. As much as it's just, I think they were redshirted.
Right, and this is also from Noons. By the way, they were high school teammates at Bergen Catholic.
Yeah, in New Jersey.
Yeah, so really cool, and we'll get to see how that goes. Now,
yeah, Jersey's looking good. Jersey's been.
Let me ask is another question, and I don't know the answer to, which is why it's a question.
Mm-hmm.
These guys cannot play.
No.
No. Committing through the portal, you cannot play.
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
No. No. So most likely our starting corners for the bowl game will be Isaiah Johnson and Jeremiah Wilson.
Right. So with that said, decent backups too. I think Isaiah Johnson, I thought he impressed me when he was out there this year. So.
Oh yeah, I thought that. Jeremiah Wilson had some good plays too. So, they both had mistakes as well, but they were the younger guys. But we had depth there at corner, and now we lose Garrett, we lose Deuce, but then we bring in these, albeit younger guys. They were 4-star guys, and then we're gonna have Isaiah Johnson and Jeremiah Wilson come back. So, I think it's it's looking good as far as corners go. I know that we lost Jihad Carter, which is I think hurts.
Oh,
but,
that's right. Yeah, I think that hurts too.
But yeah, I mean, and then they said too that Jaden Gould, he's 6'2", 200 pounds, so he might be in a situation where he could play safety as well. So, that's we got Elijah Clark, Braylon Olivers, those guys coming back. Jefferson or Simmons coming back, right? So, yeah, I mean, we're going to be good there, and we're getting in defensive linemen through recruiting and through transfer portals. So, yeah, as long as we just don't lose those linebackers that we got in the transfer portal after the bowl game, then I think defensive wise, we shouldn't be able to. I mean, we shouldn't skip a beat, especially bringing in Rocky Long.
Be interesting to see too how see Rocky Long on the sidelines during that bowl game. Okay, so the last couple, Joe, I'll let you hit these, man. One's really fresh. John Ray Reed, JUCO offensive lineman, and a defensive lineman, Ty Gordon. He was flipped from ODU to Cuse. Both of these guys, 2023 verbals, right? So I think is Wednesday. Is that right? When is signing day or whatever? Isn't that before the bowl game?
Early signing day. I forget what day it is.
I think it's this week though.
Yeah.
Okay. So, anyways, I don't have much to say about these guys, and so I'll let you.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's John Ray Reed. He was the newest one today. Broke around 4:30, and don't really say anything too much. I haven't seen anything too much about how much if he's a freshman or if he's a sophomore or whatnot. But he just seems like a guy that's got some size and kind of a project, so to speak. Didn't really have stars. When you look at the offers he had, Georgia Southern, New Mexico State, Missouri State. So, but when you look at the size, he's 6'4", 325 pounds. So to me, this looks like a guy that they just see, they see talent in him. It's just, I don't think you're going to see it next year. And as far as Ty Warren goes, right, Ty Gordon, sorry, getting flipped from ODU, he was getting some looks from some other bigger schools too. He committed to Old Dominion early, and his team had a great year, and he had a great year. And as much as he doesn't have any stars, still 6'2", 267, and another guy that I'm not so sure we're going to see make an impact next year on the defensive line, especially considering the people that are coming back.
Right.
But again, it's just one of those guys, right? Like you said, you're not going to. This is a guy we're going to talk about, and we might see in 2 years.
We'll remember his name and be like, I think we did talk about that guy.
Right.
It's happened a couple
pretty
times.
much, yeah. And that's again. That's where we're at right now at this point I know early signing day, right? That's next week, but I think signing day is what, first week of February, something like that. So there's not a lot of time left. We still got scholarships and places and, spots to fill. So, if I don't want to downplay any of these kids or anything, but like when you don't have stars and everything like that, I'm sure they'll get rated and they'll be 3 stars once they have, scholarships from Syracuse. But, these guys are you can see that they can have a high ceiling, but right now they have a low floor, and there's some things they got to work on before they can be to a certain level. So we've seen guys like this, grow through the program, and these are these type of players. I'm just glad to see so many offensive line and defensive line guys. I mean, you saw that's where we got beat up, right? Especially during you get to halfway through the season in the gauntlet that we played. Our defensive line was getting pushed around. Our offensive line sometimes we're getting pushed around. And, it's good to see that they're doing everything they can to try to get as many bodies out there as possible. And if you throw 3 scholarships at one guy, but you end up landing an NFL guy out of those 3, and it's just it's worth it, right? So,
yeah, throw it at the wall, see what sticks. Okay, let's hear what Coach had to say following the win against Cornell.
I thought Cornell was better than us today. I thought they just missed shots. That's all. The only reason we won the game is they missed shots. We did a little better job of guarding them, not much. They just missed a lot of shots and let us back in the game. We can't determine when we need to go and when we need to make a play. And we need to obviously do better on that. If Jesse was sick, didn't practice on Thursday, practiced Friday a little bit. He thought he was all right, but he couldn't do anything in the first half. I thought the second half he must have felt better because he was the difference. I think sometimes our forwards think that Jesse's going to get every rebound, so they just watch him. And that's not a good solution. I thought Joe kept us in there in the first half, and then, once we started getting the right shots, we were better. And once we started defending, and Jesse did a good job when they got it in the middle to play off, and when they got it down the baseline, come back and block it or make it a difficult shot. But in reality, they missed 5 or 6 wide open threes that would have kept the game really close. So we were lucky there. You're not going to get lucky all the time, but we were lucky there. But the way we started, it was a good win and get ready. I watched Pittsburgh a lot lately. They're really playing good basketball. They're a completely different team than last year. In the beginning of the year, they're good. So we'll have a really tough game on Tuesday.
All right, Coach did not take any questions. He kind of said some things about Louis Orr, and we'll get into that before we do fan feedback and play what he had to say. I think it's worth a listen if you didn't hear it yet. So, all right, let's start off here. So we'll kind of do our own synopsis. Cornell did miss a lot of shots, and I thought though that the defense became way more active. I thought they picked it up towards the end of the first half. They were down by 11. They end up tying this thing 37-37 at the end of the half. They never really let up. Obviously they made some mistakes, but all 5 starters too finished double-digit scoring, which I don't know if that's happened this year. And not only that, but you got the forwards with 5 rebounds each. So Cornell, they kind of shot themselves in the foot. They were a one-show pony up there chucking threes, 48 of them, making 27%. That's the most attempts in school history for them. So not to mention, with that said, they only got to the line once for 2 shots. They were both missed, and that was their game. So I do agree that they shot themselves in the foot with that, like Coach said, taking all those shots and not making any. But I do also think that, I think the defense did pick it up, and I thought they played better. Now, with that said, it would be nice if Syracuse would come out a little bit more awake and active to start the damn game from the get-go. And I was a little worried about this game anyway, because I feel like this team's pretty good. And I think this is what, this is the transfer portal allows teams, and we'll talk about Pitt. So it allows teams to be able to find really good talent and put together some experience on a team almost every year. If this is how this thing's going to go, that's what people are going to attempt to do. So with Jesse sick, Joe, he's still got a double-double and 5 blocks.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, I'll take it. But how'd you see it, Joe? Obviously, the rebounding still a little bit of an issue, and I think we're -6 on the boards. So, that's just one more thing you can point to for, just the sake of something Syracuse has to do a little better. Joe Girard, I thought, did a pretty good job. He ended up with 19, but he had 15 of them in the first half.
Yeah.
So, and he had a couple threes. I think he was 3 for 8. Is that what he was?
Yep.
Yeah. So he had a couple early and kept us in it. Chris Bell hit a couple really good ones too. Timely ones, right?
Yeah. Chris Bell looked good yesterday. I thought
so.
like him stock up, Benny Williams stock up. I like what we saw from the forwards, and I like what Malik Brown did when he came in. I think he helped the defense, and it even got to a point when Jesse wasn't playing good, then had a bloody nose. He came in and played center in the middle of that because Cornell's a little undersized, and it worked out fine. Him and Torrance, they came in, and I thought that they, definitely helped with what was going on. But starting five kind of took this over. Game started slowing down for Judah Mintz. Cornell came out super, super aggressive, which is why we shot so many free throws, and the foul discrepancy was what it was. But this is a team where we had them, outmatched as far as height, and to see them beat us in rebounds and have, all 22 offensive rebounds. They had 19 second chance points to our 8. That was a little concerning, but we picked it up, and like you said, they lived or died by the 3. You saw it with the free throws. They didn't try to press anything. They didn't get fouled a lot. We only had 9 fouls.
They never changed their game.
No, and they started missing. And at one point, I think they missed 21 to 22. And
they scored 8 points in the first 12 minutes of the second half.
Yeah, and once we took the lead and started pressing them, as far as making them a little bit nervous and getting a little sense of urgency on their side, then that's when they started missing those shots. They weren't comfortable anymore. They were comfortable earlier in the game when they had the lead and they were hitting shots, and that's just what happens when you can just change that momentum. That's pretty much what happened. Our defense did step up. We had a lot of blocks when they started bringing it in, when they weren't hitting the threes, and it got to a point to where we kind of just took the game from them. As hard as they played, as much as they were subbing people out and playing tough defense and everything, I think that we took their shot. We took their big punch, and we came back and we said, we're just gonna lean against you on the ropes, and we're just gonna wear you down, and that's what we did, and we eventually got it to where we won by 15.
Yeah, it was handily. I thought it was when they started to play a little bit more active and a little bit more controlled. The beginning of this game was very sloppy. They end up with 13 turnovers, but there were some turnovers, man, that were just terrible turnovers. Judah had a couple I thought were really bad, and just kind of boneheaded things that I feel like you can't do against ACC teams, and that's not taking anything away from this Cornell team either. And Syracuse still, they also were able to keep stride on the points end of things in this game by getting to the line and things like that. That's what that's their bread and butter. I feel like they need to stick with that. They're shooting tremendous from the free throw line, 13 to 16 in this game, 81%, and that's kind of what's carried them through the past couple games, actually. And I think they just need to stick with doing that. What they overall, 7 for 18
from the 3.
That's not bad. 38%, 39%.
We shot 50% again. And that's the thing. We're moving the ball. We're taking good shots. The players that are supposed to be taking Judah's going to take some tough shots. Joe's going to take some tough shots. But Jesse is super efficient. And last night you saw, Chris Bell and Benny Williams were efficient. I
feel like they're doing better, right? I feel like every game when we're watching, especially my eyes are on Bell, right? Because he's the one that's getting hit with the stick lately. So I just feel like that they're progressing.
Yep.
And I think they're feeling it more. And grabbing rebounds, they each grab 5. That's a good start. I'm happy with that. So
yeah, and we go deep. Boeheim, if you're not going to play, then he's going to take you out. And if you need to get that little shock starter to get pulled from the game the first 5 minutes because you're not doing anything, to put somebody else in that's going to have some energy to get you woken up. That's happened to Benny a couple times. That's happened to Judah a little bit. Like that needs to happen. And Chris Bell, like I said, he's probably the stock rose the highest for me yesterday with him because you can see that he has got just a pure shot. He's a scorer. You can see that he is a good. Once he gets comfortable and gets his confidence with defense, which I saw. You saw him get 5 rebounds. He ran down and had a great block underneath the basket. Once that defense, that confidence comes in, and then the confidence of Boeheim, and I mean, he played 28 minutes. He hasn't played 28 minutes in quite some time, and that's because of the way that he played. And if he can, I mean, his defensive confidence, I think, goes into his offensive confidence. If he's playing good defense and he knows he's not going to get pulled by Jim, then I feel like you see a completely different offensive player.
Yeah, you could tell when he was stroking those three. He missed a pretty wide open one, but he should have taken it. Like, I was wanting him to take it myself, and just you're not going to hit them all, but that's one he should take. So I was impressed. I was impressed with that. The rebounding discrepancy, it's got to get fixed. I think it'll get better. I just don't know how much better, and that's been a problem for years, and I don't know what else to say about
no,
that.
The problem with this is that this, we can't look too much into this. As much as I brought it up, I understand, like, we did lose, and that's a lot. 22 offensive rebounds is a lot, but when teams shoot threes, 3-pointers, if you miss them, they usually end up turning into long rebounds. And that's when the guards and some other people get into play. So when you got a team that shot 48 threes and missed 35 of them.
Well, they had... go on.
I'm just saying, so those turn into long rebounds in which, it's not just about, the big guy underneath. So many of them bounced out to the foul line or even farther for guards to be able to get. So, there's a little bit of skewed numbers there. It's not going to be that bad. When you have a team that doesn't shoot 48 threes and shoots more twos. There
was 4 of those offensive rebounds for Cornell were in one sequence.
Yeah.
And they didn't even score. So
they shot 18 more shots than us.
Yeah, well. So a good game, I don't think we could have lost, 42 straight. Haven't lost to them since 1969. We don't want to relive the whole Colgate thing, it's just that kind of equivalent to me. But that's, with that said, they're a good team. So we move on. Syracuse will face Pitt, like I said, 9:00 this Tuesday. The all-time series between the Orange and Pittsburgh sits at 74-48 in favor of Syracuse. Syracuse had a 36-22 record against Pitt in the Big East. The two schools only met in the Big East tournament 5 times in 30 years of conference play, with Syracuse going 4-1 against the Panthers. Syracuse beat Pittsburgh 58-56 on February 12th, 2004, when Tyler Ennis hit that 35-foot three-point shot as time expired. This moved the Orange to a school record 24-0 to start the season. They would eventually lose. I think they got to 25-0 and lost against Boston College, if I remember right. Along with a school record, 24 consecutive wins. All of that according to orangehoops.org. Coach Boeheim in the Orange started out 5-0 against Jeff Cable and his squad over there at Pitt. After he took over last year, Syracuse and Pitt split home wins, the second of which a loss at Pitt 64-53. Gerard, Boeheim, Edwards, Swider, and Jimmy Boeheim, your starting 5, and Buddy with 25 points. In fact, Buddy had 49 points total in those 2 games last year. Pitt is also 8-4 currently. Losses coming against West Virginia, Michigan, who was 20th at the time, but I think they've dropped out of the top 25 since then. VCU and Vanderbilt. I don't know how good VCU is, but a loss nonetheless. One of those 8 wins was a 68-60 win over NC State at NC State. So that's a good. They're 1-0 in the ACC as well. That's a pretty good win. They're led in scoring by Ole Miss transfer, junior forward Blake Hinson. He's got 16.5 points a game, 7 boards a game. He leads in rebounding too. You might remember Nelly Cummings from Colgate. He's a guard. He leads the team in assists with 5 per game. Senior guard Greg Elliott. He's hitting 44% of his 3-point shots right now. He's another transfer. Where'd he come from, Joe? Marquette. He played there for 4 years and then came to Pitt. So as a team, Pitt is shooting 45% from the floor, 35% from 3, and 72% from the line. Pitt is currently 80th in the net rankings, making this a quad 3 game. So Joe, Cable putting together an experience-laden team for the most part through the portal, and this is the world we live in now, as I mentioned, but this year's team, I think, has a little more talent on it than the past couple years, and we've been playing some grudge matches here lately, past couple years with Pitt. They got a guy who might be able to give Jesse some trouble. They're almost identical in size, but it's kind of hard to tell exactly how good they are looking at their schedule.
Right.
Because I haven't played a ton of good teams, but like I said, they got that win against NC State at NC State. Other than that, it's hard for me to gauge it. So,
yeah. Well, so again, it's going to be a situation where, and I don't know if this is really going to help us when it goes through it or not, because when you think about it, like, what do they always say about when we go to the NCAA tournament, right? And they're like, well, teams, they're not used to playing the 2-3 zone, right? So we usually have a good matchups against, teams outside of our conference because they don't usually see the zone, and sometimes they have problems with it, right? I wonder if this transfer portal situation is going to make that a problem for teams in our conference.
A lot of new players all the time.
No, yeah, because
constantly.
When you look at this team, I mean, okay, I remember last year, and I know that they beat us twice, right? Or no, was it 1-1? I think it was 1-1. But I remember John Hewley. Remember Big John Hewley?
1-1 last year.
Okay. Remember John Hewley? Their little forward gave us problems last year and everything. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, he's going to be a problem, right? Well, he had some issues during the summer. Got kicked off the team, right? Or at least suspended indefinitely because he's got felony charges.
By the way, Dior Johnson was supposed to be on this team.
Dior Johnson was supposed to be on this team, yeah, absolutely. And when you look at the team, I'm looking at these names, and the only name that I remember or that I've seen in the box scores from last game or the 2 games last year was Jamarius Barton. Jamarius Burton was there last year. He was last year was his first year at Pitt. He was a transfer from Wichita State and then Texas Tech. So Pittsburgh was his third team, but he scored 35 points in 2 games against us. Not 35 points each, but total.
Right.
And I think it was 21 and 14 were the games respectively. But he's the only guy that's coming back. You mentioned Greg Elliott, Nelly Cummings, Jamarius Burton. Those are great guards right there. So right now, I mean, you already look at them. Those guys, they almost all average over 30 minutes a game. With Blake Hinson, who you mentioned as well, who's 6'7", he's going to be a problem around the rim, absolutely. And then even a guy like Nike Sibande, who was transfer from Miami, Ohio, and he was on the team last year, didn't play that much. Another senior guard. So these guys got a lot of senior guards. Blake Hinson, who you mentioned, he's a junior. But then when you look at their big guys, guy that we hadn't seen, Federico.
You like saying that?
I do, right?
6'11", 230, right?
Yeah, 6'11", 220 from Finland. He's a sophomore. He's been their main big guy. But also looking at the box score of the last game that they played, they have two twin brothers. They're both freshmen. One's 6'11", 190, one's 7 foot 200, both from Canary Islands, Spain. Jorge Diaz-Graham and Guillermo Diaz-Graham. They got a little bit of burn in the last game as well. And these guys are big guys. So they have big bodies to throw at us. I'd like to see Blake Hinson maybe try to get him in some foul trouble. And they're probably going to go 3-guard heavy. Probably going to go 3-guard heavy with Blake Hinson and then a big guy. So I don't know if there's a mismatch there. I don't know what it's going to look like. But it's all about basically how they're going to figure out our 2-3 zone, if they can figure out our 2-3 zone. And if they're going to be able to score down low. I mean, you know how that whole thing goes. But, there's only one guy that was there last year. Nelly Cummings, he's seen our 2-3 zone, yeah, but not with these teammates. So I expect him to have an all right game. He's not going to be, afraid of it. But there's only 2 guys on this team that's seen it. So home game. And like you said, their best wins are at Northwestern and at NC State. Just not really telling us too much. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but 5-game winning streak. I just hope that the confidence just pushes us through, and we just better start. Just get a better start.
Yes.
Just get a better start.
Gotta get a better start. Gotta start off with some fire under you, man. Come on. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that's so frustrating because I told my wife yesterday, and she's like, "Oh, Cornell." I'm like, "Well, I don't know, man. This team worries me a little bit." Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they were leading the NCAA in 3-point percentage, and I think they were throwing them up more than anybody, as you saw. And they got fatigued. Look, when you're playing from behind I don't think that's always the best strategy, even if that's in your wheelhouse. It's just, especially on the road. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
You got to try something else. And they didn't.
It reeks desperation too.
Yes, absolutely. It was
you're like literally just pouring the blood in the water for the other team to, because if you don't hit it, then they know it's up. Then you come down again, you shoot another one, you don't hit it. Like, they know what you're trying to do.
Syracuse, they did a great job. Look, I thought Syracuse did a great job of breaking the press. It was after they broke the press when they made some mistakes. But the ball movement against Cornell and breaking the press, I thought was pretty good. Like, I was nervous a couple times, but they were handling it. They did a good job.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, luckily, that's the thing. When you see a team like this with all these senior guards, we have Samir Torrance, we have Joe Girard, we have Judah. They can all handle that. And we even got big guys that don't really have a problem dribbling up the court if need be. So, I think that we do actually a great job.
A lot better than last year, bro. A lot better than last year.
That's what athleticism would do for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So when they, the problem is slowing down when you get into your half court and just, that's the experience in the age, I think, of some of these guys. So
dude, I almost wish that Dior was like on this.
We wanted it. Okay. It doesn't, I mean, the guy...
It'd probably be a train wreck. They'd probably be worse than what they are right now, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, there'd be some...
Or he would have entered the transfer portal already.
Probably
all these
twice.
Senior guards.
Twice. Yeah. That dude, he can't commit to anything. No. Only thing he committed, allegedly...
Let's leave it there.
Anyway, Joe, we are going to start picking. It's ACC time. We picked the game against Notre Dame.
Who won? We never even talked about that.
I did. So it was 62 to 61.
Allegedly.
62 to 61, right? I had 66 to 64. You had 72 to 67.
Yeah, I went a little higher. I knew you won that. I'm just talking shit at this point.
Yeah, and that's fine. But so look, this game, as with most of these games except Louisville, but I should watch my mouth.
Yeah, they won another game.
Yeah, so I'll watch my mouth. But these games all make me nervous, man. And we've got 2 more at home, and then we hit the road for 2, and then we're back for 2. So, look. I think that this is going to be a nail biter. I think it's going to be a lot of back and forth. I think there's going to be a lot of lead changes. These games are my rivalry games. I love the Pitt. I love Syracuse Pitt. I love Syracuse Notre Dame in basketball, and we play each other pretty hard. And the last few years has been tremendous. So. With that said, we are at home. I think that's the difference. I think Syracuse can pull out a win. I think they're going to go 6 game. They're going to extend their win streak to 6 games, 72 to 68. And that score might be a little high, but I don't know. I'm guessing. That's why it's called a guess. Prediction, rather. But
okay, what'd you say?
I said that's why it's called a guess or a prediction.
No, but what was your prediction?
72 to 68, Syracuse.
Okay. God, that is super close to where I wanted to go.
Well, give us your analysis while you conjure up something in your head.
Well, I mean, looking at Ken Pom. These teams are super close. We're at 80. They're at 71.
And like I said, this is a quad 3 game. So it's like this is not one of those games you want to hand over this early in the season.
No, absolutely not. And it's just when you look at the rankings, I just don't think that they've played as tough a schedule as us. Maybe I
don't think they have either. I don't know what the hell you...
Maybe it's just the orange goggles. I don't know. But yeah, dude, I am super, super close to where you are. How
does this work now, by the way? Explain the rules.
maybe we should ask. Maybe we should ask on how
Ask.
it makes more sense. Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I think that we are going to get a 6 win, but I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be easy at all.
No, it's not going to be easy. That's the part that sucks.
So with that said, I think Syracuse 74, Pittsburgh 71.
Wow. Okay.
I didn't want to go that high. I was going to go 72-70, but
You could have still went 72-70.
I'm too close to you.
Well, I think those.
I don't want to seem like I'm copying you, you know?
I know. That's why I always write mine down, especially if you go first. Okay. Well, we'll see. What happens. These games always make me super nervous, and as if the last 5 haven't, except for Oakland. But they got to start fast, finish fast, and they have the depth to be able to, if they need to get some people in there. And Jesse played sick and still got a double-double and 5 blocks. So let's hope he feels better.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Yeah, so let's go. Okay, look, I want to play what Coach had to say about Lewis Orr, and I don't even think I would have put much together and just maybe mentioned it, but not that I put much together, but I would probably, I think it's Coach got a little emotional. We don't see that from Coach, right? And he basically said, "Look, I'm out of here." Didn't take any questions. Lewis Orr was Jim Boeheim's first recruit, and part of the Louie and Bowie show, or Roosevelt Bowie, in their 4 years at Syracuse with those two, a record of 100-18, 100 wins, 18 losses, which is
not too bad.
It's just phenomenal. And he did play in the NBA. I think he was drafted first round. I know he was drafted first round by the Pacers. Ended up playing with the Knicks. When his NBA career was over, he got into coaching. He was at Xavier for a couple of years. He was an assistant at Providence. It came to Syracuse as an assistant for a little bit. And then that ended in, 99 to 2000? Is that right?
That's something like that. Didn't he get a head coach at Seton Hall?
Yeah, he went to Seton Hall, actually kind of built that team up a little bit. And while he was at Seton Hall, he was at Siena first, but while he was at Seton Hall, we played him 7 times while he was there. And Coach Boeheim versus Coach Orr was 5-2 in those years. Those years were Williams, Dewaney, Schumpert to start, and ended with McNamara, Devendorf, Watkins. So some good years for us too, man, thinking back to the early 2000s for Syracuse too. And then he ended up obviously at Georgetown. So I remember when he went to Georgetown thinking, golly, man, why wouldn't you just come back to Syracuse? Like, we could have used him. That would have been great. But went with Patrick Ewing, and his by the time he got with Patrick Ewing, his name or his jersey was already up in the rafters, and that happened I think in 2015. And just a tremendous guy, and Coach had a ton of love for him, and just kind of a sad thing. I don't think many of us or anyone really knew what he was going through. I had no idea. It caught me off guard when I heard he passed away. So I think it was pancreatic cancer, but no one knew what he was going through, and he was still apparently on the payroll over there at Georgetown to some capacity with the athletic department when he was going through that. So anyway, sad. Coach's first recruit, and a tremendous player and tremendous person. So let's hear, though. Obviously, Coach is going to be able to put it better than I can. So let's hear from Coach.
I'm going to just stop here, and I'm going to tell you that about 2 weeks after I got this job, I went to Cincinnati, Ohio, because a friend of mine said a friend of his had a player out there. And I said, well, today's world, I probably wouldn't have done anything. I probably would have said, yeah, okay. I got on a plane, went to Cincinnati. I watched this kid in the gym playing against some college kids. When I walked in, the guy had told me he was 6'8", which was true, he was, and he weighed 160 pounds, maybe. And he got knocked down about 6 times in 5 minutes while I'm watching him. But the interesting thing, he got up every time and made a basket or got a rebound, every time. And that kid was Louis Orr. And I've been fortunate. I've had a lot of great players. I've had a lot of great people. Louis Orr was a great player. Make no mistake about it, he was a great player. I remember Gail Cattler went to West Virginia. He was at Cincinnati, didn't recruit Louis. And West Virginia came in here, and Gail came in here, and Louis had 20 and 20. After the game, I think Gail said, he's pretty good, that guy. I said, yeah, he's a pretty good deal. But he's the best off the court that any program has ever had. I had him and Hal Cohen and Roosevelt Bowie in my first class. They won 100 games, which wasn't done at that time because you didn't play that many. They went to every class. They were early at every practice. They never did anything wrong, ever. I mean, ever. And we didn't have academic tutoring. We didn't have any of that stuff. They had, A's, mostly B's. And Louis Orr never changed in his whole life. He was good to people, everybody. Like I said, I've been lucky. I've had a lot of great people and great players, but he's the best of them all. And it was hard coaching today, really hard. I got to go. We'll see.
Well, you can see, obviously how much he meant to coach, and just it's sad. I was touched by that because coach doesn't ever get emotional. The dude's a machine. So, but it's tough. I think for coach, he's been around so long. He's met and recruited so many of these people, and to grow up with them and coach against them and coach them and have them coach against you and then outlive them, man. That's and it's tough. It's got to be tough, man. I mean, this guy's man.
Well, as a coach, you're like a father figure, right?
Yeah.
And maybe not to every player. Every relationship is different, but when you talk about, I have to imagine he was probably way more engaged back then when you needed to be than you do now versus how many,
sure.
You have so many just things at your disposal that just can help you, do what you need to do. But yeah, it's got to be tough because again, in one type of aspect, depending on the relationship, that's possibly, a father burying their son.
Yeah, to some extent, I feel like, if not for anything, a really good friend and someone.
That's at minimum, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
you drive to Cincinnati, recruit this kid, and bring him on. He becomes just becomes a huge talent. Him and Bowie, the Louie and Bowie show, and that legend just has lived ever since I was a kid, and will continue to live. And then you watch him in the NBA, and then he comes back, and he's an assistant. Then he's at Georgetown, and it's just a wild ride, man. Just a wild ride. So, anyways, all right, let's do some fan feedback. We skipped fan feedback in the last show because there just wasn't many comments, and quite frankly, we were strapped for time, and Syracuse had just won the men's soccer national championship, and a lot of focus was on that, rightfully so, after the game against Monmouth, right? So totally understandable, and those guys still living high on that. One thing I thought about after, I wish I had said after I left, I'm not a big soccer fan, okay, in case you didn't know, but to everybody who is, though, and that's even the fans. You know, like you got your soccer only fans, your lacrosse only fans, your basketball only fans, your football only fans. To them, that's just like the way we felt in 2003, you know, when we won the national championship. So because I'm not that big of a soccer fan, you kind of lose that perspective. But man, how awesome all of that is for all of them, and you know, thinking not just the team, but the, you know, the big Syracuse soccer fans, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, the ACC has a good soccer conference. You know, North Carolina, and there's been a lot of good soccer teams that go through there. So, you know, soccer went up a level for us when we went to the ACC as well. And yeah, I mean, just like we want Syracuse to make a bowl game and be relevant, same thing as soccer fans around here. For the longest time, you know, they probably wanted something to cheer for, but didn't have something to cheer for. And, you know, this team's been getting better. I mean, this isn't just the only year that they've done okay, but this is just, you know, obviously the pinnacle to the point where they've gotten. And, yeah, absolutely, soccer fans in Syracuse now have something to look forward to, something to cheer for, something to be proud of. And, you know, although we didn't play soccer and we're not the biggest soccer fans, yeah, and those sports fans' eyes, it's just as big. Completely agree.
I mean, obviously there's bragging rights there, so, which I tried at work and no one cared, but because everybody's always busted my chops, you know.
Yeah, but young kids in that soccer community, you know, that travel and they play against teams in different states and everything like that, they got something to brag about.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the perspective that I came, you know. I was more so thinking about the team and the coach and just the school in general, and not really thinking about the diehard soccer fans out there and how awesome that must have been for them. So, Mike, Magic Mike from the green room, he's played soccer for quite some time and stuff, so he's a big soccer fan. But anyways, I digress. It's time to hear from you.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House.
All right, you guys know what to do at the end of every game. I ask for your thoughts on that game. You drop them. We talk about them here. And where shall we start? It picked up a little bit since the Monmouth game, which is great. It's not a high bar, but
no.
It's better than nothing. Heading into conference play and get the followers, listeners, and fans of the Syracuse Orange back on the fan feedback wagon. And we'll start with Twitter, okay? That's where we're going to start. And let's start with @DrewCuse. Nice win. Youngins coming up in the second half. Bell had 5 rebounds. 5. Malik plays his role perfectly. Once Judas settled down and saw a couple go in, it made a huge difference. Yet he just has got to just slow down in general. Like, just go easy, bro.
No.
Go easy, bro. But, Chris Bell coming up, playing better and better, I feel like. And, you know, you haven't heard Benny get a whole lot, you know, getting called out too much in the pressers or anything like that recently. But Bell's been on the radar, and like we talked about, Joe, just you can tell how talented the kid is. Just got to play his part on defense, and like Coach said, you know, Jesse Edwards can't grab everything. He got out.
Well, yeah, and it's funny too because I mean, obviously. This part's not funny because there's a reason why we didn't get too much out of this press conference to really see where he was disappointed with who, right? Because
it's true.
The emotional with Louis Orr didn't take any questions and everything. So don't really know, but I did look at some of the players. I saw an interview from Benny Williams and Chris Bell, and you know. The media asked Chris Bell, you know, about his shooting and about this, and he was funny because, I guess this says a little bit about his character. You know, for anybody that thinks that Jim Boeheim's just, you know, banging on these kids in the post game press conferences, but he said, you know, I'm not worried about offense. All I'm worried about is rebounding. And so he played into he understands what he needs to do. And it was funny because as much as this guy was like talking about him shoot, he knows he can shoot. He knows he can make baskets. That's why Jim Boeheim has him starting, and that's why he is pushing and hoping that he can catch up to, what's going on out there. But for Chris Bell to kind of play back with it and say, I'm just worried about defense and rebounding and stuff, lets me know that his head's there. And, like I told you, and we spoke earlier in the podcast, Benny Williams and Chris Bell, to me, both took pretty big steps in my eyes as far as trending up. And if they can kind of understand their roles and keep it going.
Yeah, and you could say, oh, it's just Cornell, right? And you can point to that, and some of that's legit. This is a good Cornell team, though.
Bro, this team scored 105 points against Miami.
Oh, by the way, we never talked about that. Perfect. Yes, they lost by a total of 2 points against, who was it, Boston College and Miami? So, yeah, and 105 in regulation, bro.
Yep.
That was not overtime. What was it, 107, 105 or something like that?
Well, I mean,
Final
thankfully they
game?
didn't shoot like that against us because it might have been night-night.
You ain't lying, but, who knows? Who knows if our defense was actually at least a little bit effective?
No, they were.
I mean, I think so too. And coach isn't gonna shed the light on that, but I think they were too. It was visually different, definitely in the second half. It was visually different, and just with the energy and the effort. And when Chris Bell talks about I'm working on defense, well, I mean, just. It's easy. Oh, absolutely. But it's effort. Exactly. And that's what he was lacking. When you're standing around and you're not leaving your feet, that's the lack of effort. When you're balling out, trying, that block from behind, I think he came up and made a play from behind on a block, and then, he grabbed 5 rebounds. I mean, that's not what I'm looking for, but it's a start, right? So
he shouldn't even have had to do that because one of these days Benny Williams is going to be able to finish an alley-oop or some type of putback dunk. But yeah, that was right after that. Benny Williams, he came hard. He came down hard on a rebound and he missed it. I mean, that would have been probably top 10 play on SportsCenter if he made it. But
tomahawk.
There's probably been about 8 of those since he's been here. Missed it, and it went flying backwards. They went on a fast break, and Chris Bell, caught up and had a block. You saw Malik Brown when Jesse wasn't playing good. Malik Brown, he came in, he got a block, he got a steal, he stepped up the defense, and he was capable of sitting in the center position this this game because of the obviously the lack of height for Cornell when Benny wasn't doing well. But yeah, I mean, this team, you saw the blocks, and you saw when Cornell was missing threes and they tried to score a different way. No, it wasn't going to happen. There's a reason why they shot 48 threes.
Yeah, 48. My gosh. All right, let's continue with the Twitter. At Cuse Hoops 97. Indifferent. Good to win. Benny Williams looks much better than he did 10 games ago. Pittsburgh will be a nice test. Big 3-game stretch upcoming. We'll have a better idea of what team we have after that. Yeah, so I had said that, and of course at Oil Cuse, our buddy Captain, he says, "Are we good again?" I'll tell you, after Pitt, Pitt was my benchmark. We're going to be a third of the way through the season. You're starting conference play, full bore. And yeah, this 3-game stretch. You got Pittsburgh, Boston College, and Louisville, and Virginia. My expectations aren't really super high with that game, but it's going to be interesting to see what we could do, I guess. But really good Virginia team there. I think they're second. Are they ranked second right now in the country? I believe they are.
I think they were ranked third, but they lost.
Okay.
So
they did lose, so it'll be coming out tomorrow, and they'll probably slide a little bit. But yes, okay. Back to Cuse Hoops 97's comment. Benny Williams looks way better than he did 10 games ago. So does Chris Bell. They're both making some good progress. Pitt will be a great test. I totally agree with that. And I agree with all of this. We're going to see what kind of team we have after that. And that's absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, I do believe that, these next 3 games are pretty manageable compared to, obviously the season that these teams have had so far. And Pittsburgh looks to be the best team out of the 3. So, yeah, I mean, in a 5-game winning streak, you get Pitt at home, rival. All but one player that plays for them hasn't seen the zone. So we get this W, we get to 9-4, and then if you beat them, you should be able to beat Boston College at home, and you should be able to. I mean, I don't want to jinx it because Louisville did win another game, but Louisville's looked really, really bad this year, and we should be able to go to Louisville and win as well. So, this 11-4 looks great. So this is our next stretch. We went 3-4. We talked about this stretch after we had that tough stretch of non-conference in the ACC Big Ten Challenge, and we won those 5 games that we needed to win. And now we look at the next stretch, and obviously Virginia's a tall task, but we have the next 3 ACC games. We can start off 4-0 in the ACC, be 11-4 overall, and that's a hell of a swing to where we were when we were 3-4.
We were 3-4. So when things looked bleak, right?
It looks really bleak.
Bad.
We had to talk people off the ledge
Again, way too early in the season to do that. Way too early in the season to do that.
I mean, you shouldn't be talking about that until after probably 15 games.
Yeah,
minimum.
Boy, this basketball season is just flying by, too. It's hard to believe that it's going to last until March. You know what I'm saying? So let's see. At Noah Blanchard, he says, good teams win, great teams cover. Okay, I see you. At Breaking Orange 44, great defense in the second half. We have been defending the 3-point line much better this year. Amazing what little athleticism can do into the zone in terms of defending the 3. Yeah, I mean, it's just got to be more active. And the thing about it is that you see the length of this team in being able to get hands on balls and stuff. And even Joe Girard's done a good job of the pass trajectory and trying to get in the way of that stuff. But it is when they do the ball chase, and see the thing Cornell did, and the broadcasters mentioned it, so it's what brought my attention to it. But they were passing around the perimeter, so they weren't collapsing the zone. They weren't doing inside outside, and that's when Syracuse gets themselves in trouble. And why they weren't doing that was probably because of the presence of Jesse Edwards and the length of that zone. Right. So with that said, that going forward, I mean, that's all of those things. All of those things help. And the athleticism, absolutely, Dan, it's been a pleasant surprise. It's just got to get put together. That's all. So
I mean, I think that there's a lot of times, and I don't know overall the stats. You see some of these teams, like we talked about Pittsburgh with all these seniors and bringing in transfers and stuff like that. Like, I think that a lot of times people don't really understand the difference between having an experienced group of basically grown men versus young players. We are a very, very young team, and I think that gets lost sometimes in this. And I think that has a lot to do with starting slow and figuring it out because these guys are still trying to figure out the 2-3 zone. They're still seeing things they haven't seen before, and then they have to fix and kind of, change everything, adapt to what's going on. And that's when you see, coaches making the changes and getting everything right. Because they're so young, they need to be taught because they haven't seen it yet. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it just this last game. I was sitting there watching, and we were coming back, and I'm like, dude, there's 3 freshmen on this court and a sophomore. And it's like,
just about to mention the fact that this team has been down and have come back. They don't just fold it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
They haven't so far this year just relied on hucking up 3-pointers. They've stuck to what works and they haven't always, but when they've played well and they've come back from 11 down, they've stuck with what works, which is penetration, getting to the line, and just creating shots. And they've done a fantastic job. I mean, Judah, like, he was killing me in the beginning of this game. He went 0 for 3 from behind the arc. It's like, dude, that's not your game. Stick with what you're good at, because what you're good at, you're really good at. You're not really good at shooting threes. You should not be doing that. Stick with what you're good at. And when, with his athleticism and driving into the lane and how many times did he get to the line? Let's see, how many shots? Oh, he only got there once, it looks like. So, but usually, he's the guy at the line, and he's a tremendous free throw shooter. We talked a lot about Joe in his early days with his free throw shooting. Well, I bet you Judah Mintz rivals his, to some extent.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah, and Judah still it's like a game to game thing. He gets in game, and everyone's just pressing. He's going to get double teamed. They're going to play him hard. They've already seen what happened against Bryant, right? They're trying to get
get him frustrated.
They're trying to get in our heads to do something like. I mean, I guarantee you, one of those players on Cornell would have took a slap to the face to get him out of that game.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
At the end of the day, he gets in these games and he's just trying to figure it out. You saw him; he was going too fast. He got caught in the air. He threw balls away for turnovers, bad
passes,
and then all of a sudden, he one timeout. Jim Boeheim gets in his ass. He throws the headband off to the damn crowd. And the next thing you know, he makes an and one, comes back, makes another layup, and it's like, okay. And he was good for the rest of the game. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just crazy.
But he's got to just, what you said. Yeah, that's his game. He's got to get it.
Right, but it's those guys knowing what their game is. Just like Joe Girard. There's some people that hate him. There's some people that love him. But, I mean, you can argue that Joe Girard hasn't lost this game this year, but he's won us some. And he's an offensive player that we need. I mean, we were struggling against Cornell, and he was hitting shots. He scored 15 in the first half to keep us close, and then we inevitably got to the point where we tied them going into halftime, and then we took over. He didn't need to score in the second half because other players stepped up. It's little things like that.
He draws a lot of attention, too.
Absolutely.
He's smothered constantly when they're on offense.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. So again, I don't think he gets enough credit. When he plays good, and I think he gets way too much heat when he doesn't hit or hit shots. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and I mean, it plays devil's
that's
advocate
up to
with that.
Boeheim to get him out, right?
Well, and to play devil's advocate with that. I mean, I think for me the frustration comes when he's just hitting the panic button, and
yeah, well,
it's just that's the most frustrating thing to watch as a fan is watching.
And coach has got to take that out.
Absolutely.
And I think that he's fixed. And I think that he's fixed that a little bit. And realistically, when you look at this team, I mean, I think the biggest thing, because obviously we've started slow. You see the defense eventually pick it up. If you're not playing good, he subs you out, gets somebody else in, motivates you, gets you back in. You see the effort build as the game goes. But the one thing that people, I mean. You look at how many times we're going to the free throw line. I mean, ever since Notre Dame, I mean, we've been hovering around 50% shooting from the floor since Notre Dame. Notre Dame, we didn't shoot that many free throws because they didn't foul that much. But we shot 48% from the floor, and we've shot 50% in every single game since then. 50% or above. That's tough to do. That's not easy.
No, it's because they're taking good shots, and plus you got Jesse Edwards on there. He's so efficient.
I mean, Jesse helps.
5 for 6.
Yeah, Jesse helps, but I'm just saying overall, like, when you're shooting 50%, that's tough. And then up until this game, we were winning in the turnover battle. We were winning in the rebounding battle. So, yeah, I mean, this team is learning how to play together. They're taking good shots, and there's also players that are learning to get to the free throw line and get free points.
Yeah, that's key for me. I love seeing that.
Yeah,
that's old school Syracuse basketball. I feel like, just the way they're playing in general right now is more old school than we've seen in a decade. I feel like,
they're a deep athletic team, man.
Yeah,
they get the ball, they try to go.
Yep. Let's go over to the Book of Faces. Top fan, Alex. This team has a high ceiling because I can already see a lot of improvement from leaders on this team. If we can keep improving, we can go places, go Cuse. Yeah, I mean, right. We don't know the ceiling because they just keep improving. I mean, they've, regardless of who they're playing, and we can make that argument about the quality of opponent. But I feel like this non-conference schedule has been gritty, to say the least. And you only had a couple gimmies. And I just feel like it's the past couple of years it's been a little bit more than what it used to. But yeah, who knows what the ceiling is with this team? I don't even know if we've seen the floor either, by the way.
No, it's because it keeps rising.
Yeah,
to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
Like I said, looking at this game, and again, I know it's Cornell, but being down 11 and then taking Jesse out and bringing in Malik Brown and looking at this 3 freshmen with a sophomore Benny and Joe Girard lineup, and I'm like, and we come back, we tie the game. Like, that's not. I mean, that's kind of crazy if you think about it. As far as like recent Syracuse teams, like that's not what we're used to. So, we have talented freshmen, and we have talent on our team with Jesse and with Joe, Samir that came back, leadership with John Bull. We got a little mix of everything, and I think that if this team and if this coaching staff can get this team to buy into each other and just understand that, look, this game you might get 12 minutes, this game you might not play, this game you might play 20 minutes, but when it's time to go, let's go. And if the effort's not there, if the energy's not there, then I'm going to take you out.
Yeah, you have the depth to do that.
If you're Joe Girard or Jesse Edwards, and if they can get this team to play and just buy into that point, to what we've been seeing, and it could very well be happening with us not even knowing behind closed doors, then yeah, I can see this team. I mean, you see Samir come in, you see John Bull come in. There's sometimes Samir comes in and plays 15, 20 minutes. Sometimes he plays 6, but he comes in and he plays his role. And every single time he comes in, he's got energy and he's got leadership and confidence. And like I said, he helps the team, even though it might not show it in the box score. Same thing with Boljack. Malik Brown, same thing.
Yeah. No, they do. They're excellent, and this is a year where we need depth, and it's good to have finally.
But it's also a year where we don't know where we're going to get production from. I mean, it could come
I think
from
it's
anywhere.
coming. No, you're right. It can, and there's a lot of guys who are playing for minutes that I think by the time we get halfway through this season, we're going to see, we're going to see a lot of contributors. And, look, Cornell, what did they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys with 13 or more minutes. That's a lot. I don't expect
that's what we were talking about too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I don't expect that so much, but I mean, we're going to see Samir and Justin and John Bull and Malik Brown in there for 10 plus minutes. Before the end of the season, these guys are going to be playing some serious time, I think, and some of that's going to have to do with what you were talking about, and just people not being grounded in what they're supposed to be doing and getting yanked. I mean, that's how some of it's going to happen.
Don't get mad because you don't play any minutes, like Hema. Like if Jesse Edwards is playing good and he's not in foul trouble, you're not going to play that much. Don't get mad. If Judah and Joe are playing they're doing their thing, then Samir might not play that much. Don't get mad. Same thing with John Bull. Same thing with all these other guys. Just know that your time is going to come and we're going to need you. And we've seen it throughout this season already. Multiple people step up.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember there was a time where Justin Taylor scored 25 points, and we thought he was going to take Chris Bell's spot. And here we are. And now Chris Bell is on the rise, right? Because he looks like his defense and his rebounding is getting better, and something's starting to click. So
hero of that game, though, despite the loss, but Justin Taylor. But still, yeah.
He played. I mean, he's not playing. Justin Taylor's playing single-digit minutes now.
Yeah, and he's not doing a whole lot when he's out there either.
That's where we're at, right? I mean, but the whole thing is that we're lucky enough to have this much amount of talent to be able to be like, okay, well, not you, then you. Okay, not you, then you. I mean, there's some teams where they're stuck with the guys they have.
Right.
And I think that's one of the benefits that we have this year. As long as they can keep the team for the team and not be selfish and mad when they don't get the minutes, then I think we're good, man.
Dominic in the green room says coach is going to go with the players who aren't making mistakes. So, yeah, I mean, we've always said, people always ask, well, why is coach doing this and not playing this person, not playing that person? Well, he's playing the people he thinks is going to win. You heard him harp on Chris Bell take away this game, but for the past, well, he did take a shot at the forwards in general in that press conference. in the rebounding end. But you think about it, he's been harping on this dude. The dude's still starting. So, I mean, what's that tell you? I mean, he's obviously sees something in this kid. He's just waiting for him to freaking blossom. I mean, He's just waiting and waiting, and he's been very patient. No. And he's said numerous times, if you can't rebound, I can't believe, basically, if you can't rebound, I shouldn't be playing you. And I don't know why I am.
And he knows that.
And he knows that. But he's playing. Do you think he's just playing him because he wants to give him practice? Or do you think he's playing him because he thinks that Chris Bell is the best option and that he's a talented shooter and he sees that in him and he just wants him to do a little bit more on defense? Because,
it's just, you have to, I mean, it's just way harder to motivate kids these days. And I think that's just really how it goes more than anything. I mean, it's going to come down to this is what it is, but this is what I need you to do. Otherwise, you're not going to play at all. And this is what it is. I think you're my best player in this situation. I think that our best case scenario and our highest ceiling of this team is if you are the starting three and you're hitting threes and you're doing this stuff, but I need you to do X, Y, and Z. Well, and if he can't buy into that, then you don't need to be here.
Obviously, he's buying into it, and he's trying, and that's why he's been still out there, and you see him getting better.
You saw the effort this game.
You saw
I saw the effort from Chris Bell. He was on the floor. He was diving. He was getting rebounds. He got 5 rebounds. I mean, I saw the effort. I saw a different Chris Bell, and that I've been hard on him.
I think we all have, yeah. Dominic says his best coaching job in years, it has a lot to do with who he's got, too. This is a different set of players. Like, just in generally speaking, it's more athletic. I think that I think this team is...
Absolutely.
I think that this team, by the time it's all said and done this year, I think this team would beat last year's team, hands down. I think.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So It has a lot to do with who you got. And what Coach has done in the past couple years when he didn't have who he had, I thought he was doing just as good of a job. The problem is that you don't have enough W's, so it's hard to justify even saying that, right? But we just didn't have it. We just didn't have the depth.
Well, sometimes the roster, right? And that's what it is.
Yeah,
I felt like there was a bunch of times last year where we were just stuck with who we had.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Buddy, he grew up in the wrong era. Because him on this team would be a game changer. You know what I'm saying? So, it's who you got and what you're able to do with them. And, we've got some good young athletic guys, long guys, and I just think that has to be noted when you're talking about how good of a job he's done from 3-4 to 8-4, where we're at now. So it's been good.
Oh yeah, dude. And that's like to Dom's comment about he's a bartender who has to make a different margarita every game with the same ingredients. Like that's what he's been doing.
Yeah,
like we saw a game where he took Joe out. We saw a game where he took Jesse out. Like, I mean, we're in a situation where no one's safe. And if you're not playing good, he's going to...
Yeah.
Because what he's going to do, he's going to put your ass on the bench, and they're going to motivate you, teach you up, coach you up, make the change, and then go and apply it. And we've seen it over and over and over again. And I'm just glad that we're at a point now where, and again, we don't know if it's because of, our sanctions that we had and how long it's taken. Who knows why it's been this long. But I'm so glad to finally see a team to where we have so many options and he can go back to almost kind of like the coaching I remember him coaching. I mean, we talked about it before back in the day where you had 8, 9, 10 guys where if you weren't playing defense, if there was no effort out there, it didn't matter who you were coming out. And then for a little while there, it was like, this is who we got. We got these 6, 7 guys, and we just got to, no matter what happens, we got to do what we got to do.
Well, do you remember starting Cole Swider? Do you remember what we used to say? Like, we're waiting for Cole Swider to do something. Like, when's he going to do something? Like, like the stick poking meme, Yeah. And it took till like ACC tournament time for Cole Swider to turn it on. You know, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but
no,
it was towards the end of the year.
I mean, dude, these guys, look, we had two guys that got two-way NBA contracts, right? Like, there's no reason why we shouldn't have been better than what we were.
Absolutely. It's the chemistry
and
was some of it too.
Obviously, Jesse getting hurts. Joe being out of position hurts. And I think, that's why when you look at this year, Jesse's way better than what he was last year, I feel like.
Absolutely.
And Judah Mintz we haven't even seen the best of him yet.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's hit the let's hit our portal. To the portal we go.
To the portal.
Dominic, unmute yourself. What's up, my guy? Oh my gosh. What is he? Hold on a second. Hold on. I can't. Hold on. Dom, you're muted right now because I don't know what the hell is going on. I'm going to unmute you in a second. Whatever you're doing, get it straight because something's not right. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to unmute you. Let's try this again. All right, Dominic.
Can you hear me now?
Holy cow! Yes, we could hear you. We could hear you before. That was the problem. Go ahead.
It happens when my phone is charging. I've learned I got to take it off the charger. Okay. I don't know why. That's very strange.
Anyway. iPhone 7s do that. That's what Joe's got.
I think I got an 8.
So okay.
I got an upgrade, Dick.
No, mine is a wireless charger. So I think that's what it does. If it's hooked up to the wireless. Anyway, hey, this team reminds me of an early 90s team. And a lot of people don't remember, Jim used to sometimes play 8 or 9 guys, like when Moten and Autry and all them. He was just rotating guys in and out. And whoever, I don't want to say riding the hot hand, but...
Say it again. Say it one more time.
I don't want to say that he used to ride the hot hand, but he would bring out different guys for matchups. And okay, who's playing best against this guy? And I noticed, I was home this weekend. I noticed when we started to make our comeback, Jim was saying, okay, this defense plays well against these guys. Also, one of Cornell's guys got into foul trouble early with 2 fouls in the first half. But Jim can coach, and he just hasn't been able to the past few years and has had to play 6 guys because he didn't trust the other guys on his bench. And I actually think that this team, like he says, this is the best recruiting class he's had in years. I think he trusts these guys more than he's trusts other players that he's had in the past. And that's why you see him making like this drink that I said. And every game is different. Somebody else every night could be the star of this if it's not Edwards or Mintz or Joe, or at least let's say star 1A. And that's what I like about this team the best. They may not make the tournament this year, but they'll make the NIT, I think. And I think that'll be even better for this team. I don't think that Mintz has a 3-point shot to go to the NBA yet, which unfortunately I think that would make, Copeland will probably leave if that's what happens. But I like the makeup of this team. I like the grit. They showed me a lot the last 2 games coming from behind, and I just enjoy them. You have a good night, guys, because I got to be up at 5 a.m. to deliver. This is the bad week. This is the worst week.
I hear you, Dom. We appreciate you. I'm sure all of the people in your area appreciate you. Don't screw anything up this week. It's very important that you get those packages to the right place, Dom. Okay.
Oh yeah, this is the week, and then you get all the letters from Santa. And I'm not tooting my own horn, but me and my wife, we actually write them letters back. It's a hard week, but it's a fun week.
Wait a second.
My grandma used to do that.
Oh, yeah.
She would write letters at Santa to the kids.
Yes, sir.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
She used to work part-time for the post office.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. It is a hard job this time of year, but it's really fulfilling, and so it is what it is.
Hey,
you guys have a good one.
Hey, look, Dom, I had an uncle that delivered mail too, and
gosh, in Syracuse.
You guys, in Syracuse. You guys get some good gifts.
Not down here.
No, well, that's unfortunate.
People in the South are
Be a
tight.
Syracuse thing.
My mailman gets a tip.
Yeah. Hey, on my route in Jersey, I had 394 deliveries, and I made about $4,000 my last year on it. And that's just cash. That's not even the gift cards and wine and all the cigars and everything else I would get.
Problem is, I
Down
never know who's grabbing the tip because there's like 3 different mailmen.
Yeah, that's the way it is now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's not the way it was. The job is December 30th is my 22nd anniversary with the Postal Service. It has changed so much in 22 years. But you all have a great Christmas. I probably won't hear you do the after show for Pitt because the game is so late. But you all have a great Christmas, guys. Okay.
Hey, Don, you too, bud.
Even you all in the chat, have a Merry Christmas, okay? And Waterboy, that baby of yours, I don't know what happened. You got to wind her up a little bit more.
Stage fright.
All right, bye.
All right, later.
Yeah, but
Yeah, taking the time to write letters back to Santa. That's a special guy right there. That's our guy Dom. Hell of a guy. All right, I think I had a point to make, but I don't remember it. Let's wrap this thing up here. Oh, there's Dominic right there. Happy for the win, but we started off slow against if we start off slow against any ACC teams, it's going to be a long season. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. It is. Nadal, top fan. Some of those defensive rotations on shooters in the second half made me giddy. Yeah, that was, like I said, there was around the perimeter, and I feel like it was easy for Syracuse to be able to close out. I mean, they were playing really good defense, and
they missed some open ones too.
They missed some open ones. They did. But that's what happens when you're hitting the panic button and you're not, in your zone, which is where they were in the beginning of that game, and it looked like it was going to be a runaway, and but resilient. Just not for anything, you can't say this team hasn't been resilient.
That's a great word. Great word. Describe it.
Dave. That's not top fan. This is top fan. Top fan. Dave on Facebook. I don't know why I keep doing
that button like 4 times.
I know.
How in the world?
Don't know how I keep doing it. No, the buttons are pretty damn big. What? Look, Joe, I hit that button a lot when I edit and stuff, so it's just like muscle memory. That's all. Anyway, they're labeled. So there's
I'm glad you admitted that.
They're labeled, all labeled except for the whoosh.
So why are you even defending yourself?
I'm just being honest. Are we gonna continue with fan feedback or what?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Let's see what we got left. Dave, considering Edwards was sick, I'll take the win. Judah showing flashes of greatness again. Yes. John dominated later on and closed out the game excellently, even a block with only 6 seconds left. Yes. Yep. Right? So,
that was the pretty much
it. Yeah, that was it. And it didn't need it, but we had it. So, that is going to do it, I think, for the fan feedback.
Look, I mean, those two teams are. I don't want to put them in the Bryant and Colgate level, so to speak. I still think that if Judah didn't get disqualified, that we would beat Bryant. But
yeah, I would hope so. Sure.
Yeah, but nonetheless, like these last 2 games, for these teams to come out and take the lead, 11-point leads on us, maybe more, and for us to come back and get 15-point wins in both of them, like you said, it shows resiliency. I think that it helps young teams not, like you said, hit the panic button and understand that basketball is
maturity.
A long game, and yeah, exactly, it just helps you mature. I think we're seeing it every game. We're seeing it every game with the team in total, but especially like Judah and some of these other young players that you can see it start to slow down. I mean, you saw Judah Mintz completely having a problem with like how physical they were and being up in his face and everything, and he was taking bad shots. And then something clicked, and it was a completely different player after that. And just watching this team is just it's and honestly, like I said, I mean, I know we started at 3 and 4, but it's been like almost like a breath of fresh air based upon. And I don't want to make it sound like because it's his sons that played and everything, but last year was tough to watch. Even when you thought that we hit a switch and we figured something out with Jesse, then he gets hurt, and it's like, And it was just like, oh, we're just going to get all these 4 people just open to shoot threes, right? And it was tough to watch. And you knew you had guys that weren't going to be coming back, older guys and we knew our issues with our athleticism and rebounding and just all this other stuff. I mean, it was just tough to watch.
It was just the team wasn't the ball handling on the past 2 years just was subpar.
Yeah, I mean, it's the ball handling, but it was like handling the press, and it was like, okay, if you don't shoot good at 3, like there was like specific things that we needed to do to even be in the game last year versus this year. It's like, oh, well, we got a guy for that on the bench. He's not playing. Okay, we got a guy for that on the bench. Yeah, and even though they're young, and it's not Buddy Boeheim or Cole Swider talent, they fit a different role. They fill a different role. You don't have to be that as good as those players to fill a role. I need this guy to play defense and be athletic and rebound. Okay, boom, done. And we don't need him to shoot threes. So it's been a breath of fresh air, and I'm just super excited about where this team can go.
I am too. Like your brother said, we don't know where the ceiling is. We don't know where the floor is, but we don't know where the ceiling is, and that's the positive thing. So look,
I think we found the floor.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe. I guess there were some bad showings. Like you take the Bryant game, okay, and smacking a dude and getting kicked out. I mean, things like that. It's hard to take it and look and see, like you said, like we win if he's in there. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's tough to say, but I don't think we will see it get worse than it was in the beginning of the year on some of these losses, like, the Colgate loss. Or St. John's was a game.
I'm willing to bet we beat Colgate today.
I think St. John's is the one to me that I felt like we had that game, and it wasn't a runaway, but I felt like we could have won that game and we didn't. And Bryant was obvious, to me too. So Illinois, we didn't stand a chance, and we probably still wouldn't. But I think we'd do a whole lot better than 44 points. So. But
no, that's the problem. The problem is, like you said, is like our team right now. Go back, only team that beats us is Illinois.
I mean, you could
with
make
how
that
we're
argument
right now.
You could make that argument. Absolutely. Yeah, we could be sitting here at what? What are we? 8-4. We could be sitting here at 11-1. Yeah. So yeah. Look, real quick. If you didn't see what Chandler Jones did to the Patriots today, and I mentioned this.
I did watch it, dude.
Did you?
You told me, well, look, this is the deal. You told me to play, and I was like, shut up. Because I knew it was tied. So I'm like, okay.
Why would you play that kind of fuckery?
I have no idea.
When it's tied.
No idea. And I still believe that he literally was in the middle of the Raiders. I don't think he saw him. He was right in the emblem, in the middle of the 50-yard line, John Jones. I watched it.
Oh, yeah, he blended in. It's possible.
Oh, dude, I think he blended in, and he caught that pick, and you're damn right, he stiff-armed Mac Jones straight to the ground.
He made a mud puddle out of him. It was awesome. And I'm a Raiders fan, so I was like, I freaked out. I'm a Raiders fan right now after that. I'll be a Bills fan. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
By the way, Syracuse alum. You gotta love that.
Well, right. That's why I'm even mentioning it. That's why I'm mentioning it, of course. So, just tremendous. There's an overwhelming excitement when a guy from like the David Tyree catch. Like, tell me,
right?
Tell me you didn't like the catch was great, the play was great, but. Adding that to be like
even before that, I was like, oh, dude, because he made like 2 or 3 Pro Bowls for like special teams, like guy. You know what I mean? Like, not for being like a wide receiver, but just like a special teams guy, right? Like,
yeah.
And he made Pro Bowls because of that. I'm like, oh yeah, he went to Syracuse as a Pro Bowl guy, like as a special teams Pro Bowl guy.
Then he takes part in being.
Then he does that,
an integral role winning a Super Bowl. Like that, he doesn't catch that. You don't win that game.
A play that will be shown forever.
Yeah, the helmet.
And
catch.
that's a guy. Yeah,
it's amazing.
But, absolutely.
What Chandler Jones did today was what the Patriots did today was second to stupid.
There wasn't second to stupid nothing. It was stupid.
It was stupid. It was so
First
stupid.
is stupid. What are you doing?
Yeah, why? Dude, just go into overtime. What the hell are you doing?
The worst thing about it too is that they were the 7th seed of the playoffs going into today. And that could very well be the play that takes them out of the playoffs.
And the other thing is that there was a questionable touchdown. And I understand if you're a Patriots fan and with the questionable touchdown.
I saw that too.
But you know what?
I don't think that was a touchdown, buddy.
I don't think it was either, but who gives a shit? You know why? Because Bill Belichick gets all those calls all the time. It's about time he doesn't. Okay? Not only that, but all I got to say is Tuck rule. And this wasn't even the game implication. The game implications here.
So Raiders hate.
The game implications here weren't even close to that game. So you know what? Freaking deal with it. Okay?
It kind of was.
No, I don't think so, bro. That was a playoff game.
That might have kicked the.
That was the start of the dynasty, right? I mean, that was a big deal. So, all right, let's get back on track here. And yes, like David said, Raiders. I thought this was a Bills Militia podcast. Yes, Joe and I are going to start the Bills Militia podcast.
We're absolutely
coming up soon. Let's go Buffalo. Oh yeah.
Oh, wide right.
That's
Scott Norwood.
another Giants Super Bowl for Joe. Right? That was the Giants, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. We're asking for scores. David's on top of it. He's like, look, where's your Pitt prediction? Well, we did it. We did it without being live, but we did it. So I was 72-68 for Cuse, taking that game at home, and Joe was 74-71 Cuse. So I asked for yours. Let's see. Michael says 65-63 Cuse. Low score. I can see that score. I can see that score happening. We'll see though. David's a little confident here. 74-67 Orange. So, that's good. They got the Orange winning. So that's the important thing is that the Syracuse Orange have made enough of an impact this year so far to have Syracuse fans picking them to win against Pitt. So Pitt's not a bad team this year. They're not a bad team. They're a better team this year than they were last year. We went 1-1 last year. So with that said, I hope we can pull this game off. This was my point in the season where I was going to answer Captain's all too asked question, are we good again? And I will answer that question, I think, after Pittsburgh. I said I would, so I will. And that's all I got to say about that.
It's going to be a little while. A little while.
So we'll be back here Wednesday, and we're going to talk Pitt, and we're going to talk... Oh, that's it. No, we're going to talk Pitt. That's it, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And then we will see you next week for Sunday for two previews. A Boston College preview and a Minnesota preview. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.